do 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 do. All right, everybody, it's going to be live. We are back after a long time. It has been a couple weeks actually. It has been absolutely crazy. Just as far as everything going on, and my God. So there's been so much happening when it comes down to just life in general. I don't know about you, but it has been very busy. Life has admittedly gotten me a little bit more insanely occupied than I prefer to imagine, but or prefer to admit. But it has been just absolutely insane. Just to be able to really, just to really, I mean, just a the season of life has been absolutely incredible, but it's also been very crazy. Why is my computer acting up so dumb right now? Anyways, trying to make a setting on something, and now it's not letting me do it. Weird. There we go. Wait, what? Anyways, while you're jumping in, let me know how you're doing, and also too, what has been going on in your world. And I would love to hear from you and just to catch up with you, because at the end of the day, there has been, like I said, so much going on, and it has been just absolutely just bonkers. And it's been wild. It really has. So my name's Jeremy. If we haven't gotten to know each other yet, I've actually been. My dad was a little bit about my story. Let's see. But so my story. My name is Jeremy. I'm actually from here in Huntsville, and whether you're going to be live or you're catching the replay, I am on. There should be a link somewhere where if you want to connect with me, you can, and we can just not way I can see your comments here. I've got a live on LinkedIn, 4 places on Facebook, 1 place on YouTube, and 1 place on Twitter. And so it has been. Let's see. Yep. Let's go ahead and just nuke that. And just there we go. But there's been so much going on, and from just this past couple weeks where I haven't been able to keep up. But I wanted to get on here and share my story, and I keep talking around myself in circles because it has been that long of a week. I'm human. But my story goes like this. I'm from here, Huntsville, Alabama, and one of the things that happened is that my dad was murdered when I was 18. And I don't say that out of a need for attention or to like what was me to look for sympathy. I speak from healing because before that, I contemplated suicide when I was 16, and also for my when I was 10, my parents divorced. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings. Okay, and when my parents split up, I was the one that was bounced around quite a few different times. Oh, and my dad was not a nice person, and so that led into a lot of child abuse, every form of child abuse except sexual abuse. And so that led me into a lot of experimentation with drugs, and that led me into contemplating suicide when I was 16. And in that contemplation, I'm a Christian. That's when I received Christ in my heart. I am unashamed of that. I respect everyone's faith, but I am a diehard believer in Jesus Christ. Okay, I just want to get that out of the way, so that way folks who hear like, is he whatever? Yes, it's chill. And so, but that was the night I received Christ in my heart, and that was when I all I heard at that point was the story of Noah and the ark and how to spell God, God. And at that point, I was just like, I wanted something that was real, that was some substance, and just wanted a real connection with something that was bigger than myself. And that's where that was the day I said to God, if you're for real and you keep your word, I'll never give up on you no matter who or what comes against me. And I'm still here today. But with that being said, though, that started me on a journey to really repair the relationship with my dad. Oh, man, he did. In my mind at that time, he didn't deserve it. But the more I understood I was forgiven, the more I was able to give it, because you can't give what you ain't got, right? Empty pockets never fed anybody. And so, but at the end of the day, what happens when it came down to really building that bridge between my dad and man, it was the hardest thing in the world. But I kid you not, that was like I only had what I didn't know then is I had 2 years, 2 years to rebuild this relationship with my dad. I was on a time clock. I had no idea. My dad lived a lifestyle that was just not healthy. Let's just put it that way. And it was not, it wasn't smart the way he lived. And so what started to take place was over those 2 years, it was a gradual turn and a shift over into him changing his habits, his lifestyle, to be able to accommodate exactly into it. And you guys forgive me if I have like these dark circles under my eyes, man. It is, like I said, it's been a long week. But for me, during building that relationship, I really had to understand that, you know what, for me, I'm like, the more I loved myself, I was able to love him. And for me, when it came down to really just to take that effort and actually go that extra mile, I kid you not, my I really felt like my dad did not deserve it. And I mean, there were so many times that there were so many times where I was arguing with my dad. My mom would panic and freak out and come in the room, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's just dad." Instant calm. I mean, just yeah, I'm pretty sure we all have one of those people in our lives that is just the most to deal with. And I know that I'm not the only one, okay? I know that that is not just me. At the end of the day, like I had to really dig down deep inside of my heart and ask myself, what did this relationship actually mean to me? Like, was it worth me putting in this blood, sweat, and tears? And it's my dad, so of course, like for me, I wanted to. I definitely need. I just, A, I know I needed to, but B, I wanted to. Like, it wasn't just because I needed to go through a 12-step program, whatever. No, I actually wanted a relationship with my dad because no matter how hard headed he was, I just wanted to rebuild that relationship. And it was hard. Love is a verb, man. It's not a feeling. That's a flat out fact. My God. Um, oh, Lord have mercy. And so let's just be real. And so when it came down to really getting through that, there was and you guys just comment on here and hit that link above the video or down below wherever you're at, just to join the conversation. And it's one of those things where it comes down to like really repairing the relationship. I had to think through it every single day. Was like, man, I needed to reflect back on how much God forgave me, but there was a lot of stuff in just emotional intelligence and understanding people that I had to wrap my head around, and understand. The more I understood that, the more I could walk in. And it's just kind of the rule of thumb with anything. The more that you're learning and practicing something, the more it becomes familiar, etc. And so when it boils down to just everything, it paid off in the end because you know, what happened was long story short was that I was on the way to church one night and I had two friends in the car. And what happened was I got to an intersection. My dad, prior to me getting to an intersection, my dad had called me. He had one arm, okay, one arm due to an accident before I was born. So he had an amputated arm right below the elbow. My dad owned a tree company, and he would be able to drive a bobcat as a skid steer in the yard without ever leaving a track. Like, dude was stout. Okay, anyone in Huntsville who knew my dad, they know that he was built like a rock, and so head and shoulders and all, and so head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But like, no joke, it was he was very, very stuck in his ways in some areas. But what happened was he had called me, he popped his Achilles tendon and needed my help wrapping up his ankle. And man, you best believe I sped down the highway. The cops were gonna have to chase me to my dad's house. I didn't care. Because at the end of the day, legally, if you go to if it's an emergency and you're actually and you get to that place, whatever, don't take my word for it. Don't try it. Go do your research. Please don't say I said you could. Just don't. Okay. Moving on. But with that, what happened was he called me when I was close to his house, told me that he didn't need my help. Someone was coming over to help out. I went and picked up my other friend because I was on my way picking up friends, for church. And so then picked up my other friend, got to the intersection, and something in my gut wasn't right. And you walk in a room and just something's off, or when you're talking with people and something's just off, it gets to a point where you're just wondering, like, something, I can't put my finger on it, but something's not right. You know what I mean? And so what happened was every time I would think about going straight, to church, it was like a rubber band being stretched in my gut. And I was just like, I don't know. But I had peace every time I thought about going to see my dad. And just a random thought just popped in my head, bam, out of nowhere. And next thing I know, I'm over here wondering, I'm like, wait, what the heck is going on? What the freaking world is happening? And next thing I know, I'm heading down, like really like something's off, and I'm just like, I just don't even think about it. I just, I followed the piece, and followed my gut and went turned left and went to go see my dad. Called him when I was on the way there, and he told me, he said, "Hey, it's cool that you're on the way." And like I had my friends in the car anyway, so it's just, I'm their ride, so it's not like they had a choice. But that's where I got to my dad's house, and man, I kid you not, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. And when we walked in the house, it was like the atmosphere was electrified. It was so electrified that it got down to a point where something about this night was special. I don't know what it was, but I could put my finger on it. And man, I told my dad I loved him 8 times in the span of about 30, 40, 45 minutes or so. Because mind you, we still had to go to church. And so, we just want to be there all the time, but we were about to be like 30 minutes late. That night, I remember leaving his house, and as I'm walking out the door out of the garage, I give him one of the hardest hugs that I've given him in a long time. And I don't know, there's just something different about his eyes. And later on, it made more sense. And I kid you not, it got down to the point where I wondered what was up. Like just something was not sitting right. I'm like, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I didn't want to address it because my dad, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but as I walked down to the car, I remember seeing in my heart that like, and I see this present, with this ribbon on it in motion, being tied up as if the work had been done. Like, and I heard this, like, just that knowing inside of me, I'm like, that everything for those 2 years that it had come to a completion. And man, I right at that moment, something definitely was off, and I don't know what it was. Again, I couldn't put my finger on it, and it didn't make any sense. But when it came down, when it came down to it, I ran off. Yeah, I ran off. I got in the car, we drove off. We got to church on time, and it didn't really hit me. And obviously, it didn't really hit me until when we got the phone call. But the next day, my aunt is in Colorado. I'm here in Alabama, and the next day, something was just even more off. I don't know what it was, but something wasn't right. And my aunt and I talked about that. We were like, it was right around the same time. We were like, we both had that gut feeling. We were like, that's weird, and that was where that's where really, we got the official phone call when we were on the way to family vacation, and that's where everything finally made sense. Like something was just wildly off. And as you're catching the replay, by the way, just as I'm rambling and just sharing my story, feel free to comment because there may be something that I say that helps to spark something or to even to discuss. And I want you to be able to have the freedom to ask those questions. Okay. There's no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to these things because the purpose of these live streams, even though I haven't done them in a while, I apologize, but we're going to get back in routine on that. But these are designed to help foster conversation, communication, to help you to know that you're not alone, A, and B, that there's like getting through it is possible. Because man, it's after we got that phone call, like really truly, it's been it's been an ongoing case. We found out that he had been murdered in a very harsh way, and that's where now, like fast forwarding, like 11, 12 years roughly, it's been an ongoing cold case, but At the same time, though, I don't speak from a place of, any kind of needing sympathy or, what was me, but also too not needing attention. I'm doing this flat out just so that way you can know that you're not alone. And for anyone that you may know, because at the end of the day, like grief is real, okay, and stuff happens, and things out of our control. And one of the biggest things for me, I just feel like I just need to just kind of go in this direction and just divert from the story for a little bit, is that the number one way to be with someone and to help them is to be present with them. You don't have to say much, you don't have to really do much, but you have to remember that when someone loses someone, like their presence is now gone. Think about it. When we give up the ghost, right? Like when we are gone, our body is lifeless, literally lifeless. It's the point of being dead. Your presence there, being present and being engaged mentally, emotionally, physically, literally, just being there, said like or on your phone or whatever, that means more than anything else. Okay, and that's where hang on one second. I'm gonna type here in the comments. Hit the link in the description to join the conversation. There we go. Well, hopefully it'll go out. All right, cool. But that's where when it comes down to like when you're there with them, do you like the sometimes the easiest way to be the most helpful is to do nothing. Well, I wouldn't say it's to do nothing. I'd say be there, but practice saying nothing, but only responding to what they share with you. Take that approach. Take the supportive approach, and say, hey, look, whatever you need, I'm here. Like I love you. I appreciate you. I support you. I'm here. Like I'm not in a rush. I'm here just to be present. Like time is not an issue, even though if you may be in between appointments or whatever. But within boundaries, of course. You don't want to give up your whole entire week, but be there and say, hey, look, really quick, I've got about an hour, but I just want you to know that I am here. I'm not going to do anything else. I love you, and I just want to be here for you. And that's to not just protect your boundaries and your priorities, but also to let them know that you've got frame of time, frame of time, that where you're there and you're not doing anything else. Like what they're going to more than likely are going to hear is saying, "Dang, you made that time for me." And what happens is when someone passes away, their presence is gone. So your presence, hang on, I'm over here talking in this direction. When their presence is gone, your presence in place of it helps to really, it just really helps, and more. It helps to be more of a support than words or gifts or anything like that can be. And I'm serious. When you're able to be there, not be in a rush, but to be present. Being present when someone else's presence is gone is the most value that you can bring when supporting someone who's lost someone. Man, I'm telling you, like it gets down to the point where, and that's even in professional environments, right? Especially if you own a company, and when you own a company, that's a whole different ball game too. But also too, like that's where when you like being as supportive as much as you possibly can, right? And finding ways to be able to be creative, but in ways to help support and to also to be able to help folks wherever they're at within guidelines. And so but especially as a teammate, right? When someone is there, sometimes the fastest way to overcome the regret, any of the grief for that person is to have someone there who isn't rushed, but also to for that person to slow down. So like the biggest thing for you to be able to get the fastest result is sometimes to just do nothing and power off. Like not mentally and just not be there, but to power off the busyness, to power off, everything else you've got going on. Put a cone around you, so to speak, metaphorically, to put around like you put yourself in a dome with that person, and all the noise and all the distractions and all of the everything else, whatever it is just zeroed out. Give it a shot. See how it works. Because when you try that, I guarantee you what's going to happen, more than likely, is you're going to see a much healthier response from that person and conversation open up, meaning they're actually going to share their heart with you. It's trust, right? And that's where that's where being able to really just slow down and hear that person's heart and how much they really just how much they need you just to hear them. Sometimes not even understand. Well, definitely to understand. That's the number one. It's top priority. But sometimes just to hear, let them talk, let them get it out. If you retain none of it, sometimes people don't even care. Just so that way they have someone that where they can just dump, you know, that can handle it. But then, guys, as you're watching, please make the link above and below or wherever in the video to join the conversation, so I can see I'm on this dashboard right now, and I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think like 6 different channels. So help me out, like that way you can join the convo. But one of the biggest things is for for being there with them, you have to also to know yourself, right? You have to know exactly like what's going to distract you, what's on your mind, right? Like take self inventory and be able to know like exactly where you can be there and be of support, because you have to know your own self and your own personal boundaries and your own resources too. Let's be real, okay? Hang on, like okay. So if you're watching this in the replay or whatever, drop a comment down below and let me know if you've ever bought a gift for someone and then it just fell flat and they didn't care about it and you just felt mad almost. Like, let's be real. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's no shame here. Like, you've bought that for somebody and, they don't need to know who you are, like, who your name, like, their name or anything like that. I don't even need to know what you bought. I don't care. Like, just put a yes or no, and so, like, with that being said, a lot of times the gifts don't mean anything. And of course, this goes back into kind of diving deep into stuff as well, but knowing their love language, knowing like what really makes them tick, right? It's a lot of times people try to like drill things down, and of course, into buckets of stuff. And there are personality tests that are out there that are great, but if you know that person, you know what's going to really excite them, encourage them, but also too what's going to piss them off. And when people are grieving, there are 18 different things happening every millisecond. Okay. And so at times, and so that's where a lot of it is, as the church would say, hey, go pray it up. And so that's where you just know yourself, know your boundaries, know how tired you are. Like, be brutally honest with yourself. Know that when you get hangry, you get antsy. Okay, raising my hand on that. Okay, no shame. Okay, for real. And so there's just these little things that sometimes that may sound petty, but that actually will make you antsy, impatient, not be there present, and also rush things. And all of those cues, trust me when I tell you that when people are grieving, they watch every single facial expression. And if your body doesn't match what you're saying, instant shut off. Okay. And so, because here's the thing, when we lose somebody, we go back to what we know. And if what you're walking ain't matching what you're talking, the filter goes out the window real quick. And or sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes people power down, but majority of the time, it gets brutal real quick. Or they just get straight to the point real quick. And in a very kind way, to where that you're like, dang, okay. I probably should have said that differently. You know what I mean? And that's where and all of you who are tuning in, I appreciate you tuning in. And for those of you who are catching it live, hit the link somewhere around this video and join the conversation. I'd love for you to comment your thoughts and feedback and where you're watching from. But I mean, this is an open discussion. I don't want to have this all monologue this entire time. It gets boring. So please hit the link wherever you see with this video. Do that, run through whatever you need to, come back on and join with me. And next time you catch me live, do that same thing. So take this, if you're seeing this on the replay, as a how-to, and that way you can join the conversation the next week. Next week, same time, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I accidentally hit 6 o'clock. I'm like, dang. So that was my bad. But the reason why I'm going into all of this is because with everything, with all of this stuff, when it comes down to losing someone, even to when it comes down to overcoming anything, any kind of challenge, right? All of that being said, All of it goes back to you being your number one asset. Okay. And so, what does you being your number one asset have anything to do with grief and recovery, regret, all of that? It has everything to do with challenges. It has every single thing to do with challenges. Now, when it comes down to you being your number one asset, your business is a reflection of you, right? Your cell phone, your how you lay it out is a reflection of your personality, your creativity, you. Okay, your Facebook feed, your social media platform, wherever you're watching this, you made it or not, depending on how ambitious you are on social media. You know, and it's a reflection of you. Every single thing about you, your insurance, your bills, your the things you buy, your policies, your real estate, your credit score. I mean, whole 9 yards is all stemmed back to you. It's crazy, right? Like, crazy. But what's amazing is that, especially during grief or any kind of challenge, that is extreme pressure. That is extreme pressure. Every single thing goes right back to you. And what the heck is my point, right? Everything. Sometimes, I mean, here's the thing: when pressure hits, a lot of times what happens when challenges happen, a lot of times what we try to do is say, "Well, I need this new tool to try and yeah, get it go awesome, right?" And what takes place is, yeah, that was dumb, pretty dumb. Like, it really didn't work out that well. And what's interesting is that a lot of times it goes back to what the heck can I do right now with who I know, what I've got in my hands, and my resources, and well, sorry, where I'm at, what I got, who I know, where I'm at right now, and it's like, there's a lot that goes back, taking the understanding of grief and how emotionally and mentally how deep that goes with that as an understanding, but also then with every other challenge that goes on, how intense is it really? Really, truly think about it. You're not dead yet, right? Like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger because you haven't given up, right? And also, at the end of the day, I mean, it's only crazy until it's done. Just saying. And what's wild is everything about business or brands or whatever, someone created that. Someone made that. Someone orchestrated all of that. Bonkers. Absolute bonkers. Like, think about it. And so, when it comes down to just, I mean, everything that goes on, like any kind of challenge, the pressure that is literally just, I mean, nipping at our heels every day. It's life. Life comes with responsibility. Well, so this comes with pressure, and our ability to respond determines how we handle it, right? And what's crazy awesome is, we have the power to change our outcome. We have the power to change our environment. How long that may take is totally on us, but also things that may be out of our control. But that's where, when you're able to put together something under pressure, put together something that is going to, that's going to live on beyond you. That is an extension of you. That is an extension of something that is inside of you, deeply burning, that you want to make happen. Right? Everything starts with a dream. Right? That's what the old saying is. But it is so true. Write the vision down and make it plain. But what is that vision? Only you can see it. And especially after you lose somebody or someone else has lost someone that you know, helping them reconnect to that vision that makes it plain, literally writing it down, journaling. I love journals, okay? When it comes down to just, I mean, everything that you think of that comes to mind that makes you, right? Everything about you is valuable. Sometimes we try to look outside of ourselves to try and define value for ourselves. When in reality is when that thing that looks us back in the mirror, I don't care how funny it looks. I don't get offended at that. Just joking. But like no joke though. Like when that person that looks you back in the mirror every day, that's the asset. Everything else is an add-on. And whether you're helping somebody who's lost someone, whether you feel burned out, no matter what's going on, I mean, no matter what season of life we're in, no matter how low it feels, no matter how dark it feels, and how suffocating it may feel, it all goes back to you. And that may piss off some people, but it's okay. Because at the end of the day, our ability to respond, huh, what if you could sharpen that? How can I respond differently? Okay, what made me react that way? What made me do that? What caused my response? What caused me to take that sequence of actions, right? Those make those series of decisions. Like what caused me to do that? Huh. Reverse engineer that. That's hey, journals. Hey, write it out. Transfer it from your brain onto paper, get it out of your head, and that way you can have some mental breathing room. Just saying. Download your thoughts out of your head through pen and paper. I promise you it's amazing. Just give it a shot. And it's interesting too because no matter what's going on, no matter what challenges is going on, no matter what the heck or who the heck slapped you in the back of the head, whether it's life or a person, that just knocked the wind out of you. I don't care how hopeless that you feel. On this live stream, I don't accept any excuse. None. Because here's a kicker. I'm going to find a way to encourage you. If you'll let me. And that's for like, that's part like jokes aside, and I'm always gonna crack a joke probably at an awkward time. It's just me, just gonna roll with it. Um, your ability to find hope or find that vision or your ability to help spark that in someone is just supernatural. It is so powerful. And but that's also the key. If you can see it and keep it in the forefront of your mind, it's kind of funny how top of mind marketing is the same thing as internal renewing your mind. Keep it top of mind, right? And if you keep it top of mind, that vision, find a way to keep it in front of you. Wallpaper, put on your wallpaper on your phone, on the wall, whatever the heck it is. Write out that plan as you get those puzzle pieces. Because here's the kicker: just because you're not ready right now doesn't mean you're not being prepared. Just saying. A lot of people want to have it overnight, but they don't realize that sometimes it takes a couple of years for you to get ready, to get the right connections, to get the right resources, and also the plan. There's the vision first, but also there's the plan too. But then there's support, right? And there's systems, ecosystem. God's all about systems, just saying. And at the end of the day, too, that's where all of that goes back into having the fun and creating the structure around it. Peace means to make order. So, what does making order require? Time and patience and preparation. Hard work. There's an old saying, it's called, blessing is spelled WORK, right? And it doesn't go away, but our ability to respond, focusing on us. We have a I don't know about you. I got a full-time job and a half with focusing on myself. And it's a tough one. My wife will tell you. But the ironic part is that 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 scripture that said the scripture that says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." Ironically, the definition is in the statement. We're just going to take one part and put it in front of the other. As you love yourself, you'll love your neighbor. And ain't that funny? And what's what makes it even more interesting is let's flip the words out. As you forgive yourself, you'll forgive your neighbor. You can't pour out of an empty cup, financially and mentally and emotionally. I mean, we all know that. Now, you know how sometimes you're with around people and you're just emotionally spent, mentally just dead, right? Brain dead. Like you just that's all you got for thoughts, right? All of that. And I mean, I just flat out everything that could go through your mind does or whatever, or it's just like so the other one was brain parts. But like that's where knowing yourself and being able to know, okay, you know what? If I don't take better care of myself or find that like what do I love about myself? Start there, right? And especially those who are grieving, like start there. What do you enjoy? What do you like to do? What's fun? Forget about the bills. Forget about all the bad stuff, right? Boom, put a wall in between. Forget about all the bad stuff and just ask yourself, what do you really enjoy, right? What do you like to do? What is fun? Define it. Define fun, right? And it's interesting because um, if you can dial back into what you enjoy, especially in a time where you feel burned out, exhausted, or whatever, go. I mean, heck, if you have somebody that you know you need to go and be there for, do something that you enjoy first, right? Get your energy up if you feel exhausted, right? Go eat, do whatever you need to. Yeah, like there's just be aware of your own self, and by being attuned, like just by taking care of yourself and loving yourself, etc. You'll know that more and more. The more you love yourself, the more you're gonna love your neighbor. And the more you take care of yourself, you're gonna be able to take care of your neighbor. So that's where, that's where really when it comes down to when it really boils down to it, how you take care of yourself is how you're going to take care of others. And if you really don't care about other people's emotions, I will say a whole lot about you. But when it comes to that person that we all may know, you know what I mean? But but when it comes down to it, really truly, at the end of the day, kind of wrapping it back all the way around to the beginning, there are a lot of things that people think that you need to do to support somebody who's grieving. You being your number one asset and being present knocks out so many birds with one stone. And you have to do less work. Shocker. Holy smokes. It's easy to a degree. But a lot of times we overthink things because, sometimes we try to think that we're not valuable enough. So, that being said, this has been entirely awesome, just pouring out. But hopefully, this encouraged you wherever you see this at. Drop a comment, and hopefully that by the time you're feel those of you who are catching this replay, I'm hopefully that this is helping encouraging you. If you know somebody who needs to hear this and be able to just if you feel like this would encourage someone, please tag them in it, or even just send it to them as a message, even privately. Just get this over to them, and please don't hold back, because at the end of the day, I just want people to know that they're not alone. And so part of that too is that knowing that you are important, that you are valuable, just alone as yourself. No extra gadgets or gizmos or fake little add-ons. Ladies, don't know what I'm talking about. None of that. You alone, yourself, are valuable enough that your presence will carry more weight than any kind of gift or any kind of gimmick that you can bring to the table. You are enough. You really are. whether you like it or not. Suck it up. But really, truly, you are enough, and you don't have to go outside of yourself to bring value. Hope you have an awesome Friday. Enjoy your weekend and tag somebody who needs this encouragement. See you guys.